Unlocking the Power of AI, an introduction to artificial intelligence and generative AI. Leading us in this discussion will be Philip D'Souza, President of Aurora Systems Consulting, a leading expert in the field of artificial intelligence. With a wealth of experience in harnessing the power of technology, Philip will be providing us with an insightful overview of AI, I gotta stop using acronyms so much, artificial intelligence, and the fascinating realm of generative AI. So at this time, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Philip D'Souza, and then afterwards, if we have time, we'll have some time for Q&A. Mr. D'Souza.
Wow, thanks for the introduction, Councilman Henderson, and thanks for that great tip. I was nervous when I heard there's 500 people here today. And Councilman Henderson says, just imagine a giant fruit salad. So thank you, Jackie and the team. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that we were drawing this up on a piece of paper. Here I am, so thank you for all the heavyweights in the room. And I'm going to explain my job to you in a minute. But the biggest thank you goes to the lady here in the front row. Laura, can you hold up that last sign that you're going to show me? So she's going to show that to me. So when it says, you know, time is up, I got to go. My job today is to help us, not me, not you, us, this great fruit salad, to navigate the content of the speakers that are going to come after me. And it's between Micah here from Arizona, city of Maricopa, who's a leading generative AI integration expert, and Mary, 78-year-old grandma at the other end, close to the exit. She was here for all the high perceived value swag, and I started. They've closed the door, so she's stuck. So between Micah and Mary, I've got to give you the tools and keep you engaged. A little bit about me. I founded a company called Aurora, right here in the South Bay, actually closer to the Long Beach and Los Angeles harbors. We used to do ship-to-shore communication 30 years ago. Aurora, in the last 32 years, evolved to be a leading cybersecurity company that was later sold to an AI company out of Vancouver that's doing cybersecurity. So lots of fun, exciting stuff. I mentor high school students. I coach executives and advise businesses. That's a scan that'll do two things: confirm I am who I am in this world of deep fakes. And should you find this presentation interesting, do reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to share the presentation. Although I'm sure, Natalie, you're going to have it up and ready, and you're going to beat me to it. My degrees are basically in finance. Long story for another day as to how I ended up in cybersecurity, in AI. Weekend Harley enthusiast, and my wife and I. So unfortunately, she's not here, but she's watching on the live stream, so I do have to behave. Have founded Aniti. It's a nonprofit that uses technology to empower girls in underdeveloped countries, you know, using technology to have a better living. So it's very empowering and very fulfilling. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. What the heck is going on? 2023, there's a knock on the front door at the White House, and the leading technology experts from Facebook, now Meta and Google and Microsoft, are saying, look, there's something scary about to happen. Some think it's really good. Some think it's a monster under the bed, right? What's going on? Much like coffee, eggs, wine. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? And like my latest conversation in the gym yesterday, protein shakes. I mean, you know, we have no idea. What are we going to do about it? So I look at this today as, and I am going to date myself, something between, you know, Napster and Y2K. Remember the Y2K craziness, right? Where are we now, right, with Y2K? I mean, you know, the Aurora valuation went up quite a bit on the Y2K times, but here we are. We are at an early time in the nascency of AI, and I urge you, to consider that as a framework as you go through today with the speakers who come after me. It's too early for Latin, but I'm going to try omne trium perfectum. Everything that comes in threes is perfect, and so today's agenda. We're going to walk you through. Now remember my framework, right? Micah and Mary. We're going to walk you through what generative AI is. More importantly, how can we use it? It's here. It's the 2 vowels in all our alphabet that's going to disrupt our lives completely. And the third, and not the least, is this framework. It's the guidelines. It's the conversations that all of us are concerned about. The risk, right? What's going to happen? Just to give you a little preview as to why all this concern, this is generational and magnitudinal change. The first time this ever happened was when someone discovered the wheel, right? We started moving forward. The next time, ladies and gentlemen, surprisingly, was when the printing press happened. Now, why the printing press? Because until then, God actually whispered to the high priest, and the high priest came and told us, guess what? Catholics, no meat on Fridays, right? Today, however, thanks to the printing press, Bibles and the Bhagavad Gita and the Quran and anything else is available to you, and the Word of God is at hand, right? So that was a paradigm shift. We talk about computers. Why is AI causing all this disruption? Because for the first time in mankind's history on this planet, there's a distinct possibility that artificial intelligence might or will surpass human intelligence. Let that sink in. Okay, and we don't really know what's on the other side. So hopefully by the end of today, one of you are going to give me the answer. Okay, so generative AI, and I will share a few acronyms just so that you get your money's worth on this conference. But for now, let's look at it as left brain versus right brain, right? Pull out your pocket calculators. 2 plus 2, last time I checked, is 4. You want to put that little computer into overload, try dividing any number by 0, and that infinitely long number gets into an error, right? So it's programmatic, it's computational, it's AI, it's been here for a very long time, and it's exactly what machines do, pattern recognition. It's Tesla, giving the Tesla cars, and no, I do not have any Tesla stocks last time I checked, but it's giving the car enough information to be able to tell if you look at a large white mass, it's a panel truck, avoid it. If you see red blinking, stay away, it's a traffic light, right? On the right brain side of AI is the new fun stuff. It's the generative stuff. It's the tools that we now have. We've given it enough information, and now machines can start managing these patterns and giving us answers. So for example, I want AI to give me a picture of a millennial in Times Square in a polka dot dress with an Amazon dropping a purple umbrella to her. Why I said that, I don't know, but AI can do this for you. That's the generative piece of AI, right? The more right brain stuff. And why is it uncertain? Because we don't know once we make that request of AI what's going to come out, right? Is the earth flat? Are all birds drones? These are all the controversies that are going on in our world today, and therefore the concern. Okay, I promise, Mary, that this is as technical as it'll ever get, and I will not forgive myself if I don't introduce you to this concept. Consider yourselves empowered if I can navigate through this successfully. AI, the 2 vowels that we talked about, artificial intelligence, it's man's ongoing interest in making machines and animals human-like. Today's Daily Breeze talked about someone in China who's blowing little pellets out and training his bird to catch them in the air. And there's apparently only 60 of them in China that can do this. Why, I do not know, but there we go, right? Pet dogs, stray cats, machines, we want them to be more and more human-like, and that's the overall overarching umbrella of AI. Artificial intelligence and things that are not human. ML or machine learning. This is where we've given our machines two things, data and algorithms. And we say, look, given all this data and given these algorithms, think of your favorite calculator, Kiran, and the answer is, hey, 2 + 2 is 4, the Tesla car that we referred to. I'm going to move slowly forward into deep learning. Take the same data, take the same algorithms, but now put in human-like processing. This is the key transition from what was just bland AI into generative AI. We created artificial neural networks, much like the brain thinks. And through these networks, human-like decisions come out. So, for example, what really happens in deep learning is pictures and text and images. I'm going to get a little technical here, so bear with me, are converted into numbers, not just zeros and ones, but numbers. And much like that giant topography that you see of, elevations of Earth, where you see 0, 1, 2, 3 of different levels, in deep learning, that's what happens. All the content is converted to numbers. And much like water will flow from a high point to a low point, in deep learning, you go towards the answer. So this is where deep learning helps to generate answers, and thus generative AI was born. Meaning, you can give it a lot of data, it's got the algorithms, and it can now try to compute answers. At this point in our history, computational history, along comes a company called OpenAI, and they identify this technology called transformer technology that gives you the T in GPT. They bring in vast amounts of data, 175 billion parameters, ladies and gentlemen, for GPT-3. And then they start pre-training this whole device, so to speak, or this whole arrangement. So you've got large amounts of data, you've got deep learning, and thus was born GPT. Right, or the generative pre-trained transformers, which means that this is algorithms that are pre-trained to give you the right answer, hopefully, for the most part. And I'm very cautious about this because we, believe it or not, are very early in artificial intelligence learning and evolution. Much like you've heard that the space shuttle now can be operated on an iPad, imagine giving that iPad to a 14-year-old. We are the 14-year-olds in the room, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where we are. So OpenAI comes in, they create this module called ChatGPT, ChatGPT-3, that is now available for free, and then you can go on and pay some money to get GPT-4, but the evolution continues, and I promise that's as far technical as I can get, and I believe if we have some time, we will take questions at the end. One important thing that I want and I would like cities to focus on, all this technology depends on data. You've heard this again and again. You're going to hear it from speakers who come after me. And I want to give you a quick glimpse into what's happening in the industry. Cybersecurity, not too long ago, was a bad word. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to worry about my password, and I can't use a Post-it anymore, and et cetera, et cetera. Ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity is now growing at a compounded rate of only 11%. Okay? Data analysis, or data analytics, and IoT is growing at 14%. Everything cloud is growing at 19%. And the AI world that we're in today and all things AI is growing at a whopping 38% compounded annual growth. Therefore, the quick fashion statement for everyone and everything to say, hey, guys, we are AI, right? But everyone wants to get on the bandwagon. And I want to give you a quick snapshot into this volumes of data that we are creating. But first, let me give you a snapshot of the industry. 83% of companies globally believe that AI is important for their future. 67% of those companies do not believe that they have a strategy yet. Okay, that's a huge number. And studies have indicated that people that are going to use and leverage AI are going to be 20% ahead of their competitors, whether it's your 13-year-old in the 8th grade, whether it's your colleague at work, or your local teams at the city. A quick look at data. We know that this year, 60% of data that we're generating is going to be synthetic. It's all the questions that you've been asking ChatGPT, including a fun one that I tried yesterday. Can you give me an answer to the Middle East crisis? And it did, actually. It did, in 11 points, very succinct, but at the end said, guess what? We're going to need a human to put this through, right? So we've got jobs and we're going to stay for a while. Here's an interesting piece of data. In 2025, there's going to be 175 zettabytes of data generated around the world. I'm going to get a little biblical here. 1 zettabyte is 10,000 billion pieces of data, okay? That's, and I don't know who counted, Micah, but that's as many grains of sand are on the ocean, on the sands of the beaches of the world. Okay, so that was the biblical reference. As many stars in the sky, as many grains of sand in the world. So keep an eye on the data, because as data grows, AI is going to get better and more detailed. However, there's a little thing in California that's 4 alphabets that are starting to cause some terror, and that's the CCPA, or the Privacy Acts, right? So we're quick to say that we're following in Europe's footsteps with GDPR, where privacy is important to the consumer. And this is where all of us come in. We're now going to have the rights as individuals to roll up to our favorite social media and say, nope, I don't want any of my data, take it out. And we should have the ability to edit it. So there's going to be a major conflict between Privacy Acts and data and what AI needs to grow and flourish. Keep an eye for that. Probably that's going to be the 25th General Assembly. Fun stuff coming our way. So fundamentals of AI, generative AI, you should have the concepts. And now I'm going to go into where we use AI. I'm going to keep my Latin theme of 3. General applications are of 3 kinds. They are embedded, they're native, or they're domain specialized. Embedded, very simple. Open up your local software, and you're quick to find out how they're now AI empowered, and oh yes, can you pay me another $7.50 a month, $7.50 a month to use the capability, right? It's happening everywhere. Microsoft Copilot is leading and actually doing a really good job of embedding AI. My wish is I wake up in the morning, my iPhone knows my blood pressure, all my stats. I open up Yelp, and Yelp says, look, you've had Chinese yesterday, so go easy. Go easy on the sodium, it's going to be kale salad, right? And orders it for me. There is AI at work, right, with all these embedded applications. Native generative AI is more like the ChatGPTs and the DALL-Es and Google and Bard. These are entire powerhouses that can answer data. So imagine in your local departments, if there was an overarching umbrella that collected all the data of all things happening in your teams or in your organizations or in your cities that you could then ask questions of, right? And that's where this whole native generative AI comes in. For organizations, it's like, you know, is Good Friday a holiday? Well, it was last year, it's not this year, or whatever else is the policy, how much vacation can I take? Very simple questions, or even more complicated questions as to how do I navigate privacy versus the use of AI. So that's the native piece. Last but not least, coming to a browser near you, a domain-specialized AI. So you're going to look at legal.ai or doctor.ai or architect.ai, where you could go in and ask specific questions of that discipline. These are all real examples that I'm citing. And here is what the industry is using in terms of AI today. Zoom is quick to say that, look, you can turn on something called Phantom, and Phantom will transcribe all your notes and give you all the key to-dos at the hit of a button. No more, at one point, I think they might eliminate the the court recorder, but I'm not too sure yet, hopefully not. But this is what AI is doing today, converting Zoom calls into language transcripts with to-dos and summaries for minutes and meetings and everything else. AI in local government, this is a matter close to our hearts. Imagine feeding financial data for your city, for the county, and having AI predict trends. This is a good one. I'm sorry, I'm hoping I'm not going to hurt too many feelings, but I believe there's now a compost police, so I have to look twice before I throw something in the wrong bin up in RPV. By the way, where's the RPV team? Okay, I was not here. Good job. Shout out to my home city. Excellent work on building permits and plans and everything else. Thank you. Thank you. Except, guys, the AQMD piece, okay? That takes way too long. Anyway, so imagine, right? I mean, scanning trash and making sure that compost goes in the right place, or your parking enforcement, or your revenue recognition, or your collections. You know, how are we enforcing our long-term rental laws and parking? Have you curbed or not? $400 in Manhattan Beach for having curbed the wrong way, but that's for another time. So this is, thank you, 10 minutes to go. So property, inventory, submitting plans, right? Hey guys, you're on a slope, it's rained heavily, can we please have a geology report? And okay, Philip, you're building a new front door and it's set back further than the garage, so you don't really need to have a separate site survey. Little things that AI can get ready finally for the human to approve. And so these are areas that local governments today are adopting. I'm sure the people who succeed me up on this stage are going to tell you much more fun stuff. Since I'm from the industry, this is what it looked like in January in terms of companies adopting AI. This is 6 months, guys, 6 months. Suddenly, everyone's on the AI bandwagon, and some of them are doing a really good job, right? And you'll see some names here you recognize. A lot of them you probably won't, but what my point is that there is a paradigm shift in all things AI happening in the industry with software, and now AI being embedded at the hardware level. Just to ensure that humans are going to be around for a bit, I want to cite this one example of DeepMind. That's a Google operation, and what they've done is, you know, human genome studying protein and DNA, and they applied an AI model to look for anomalies, basically, and to look for variants. And they scanned, you know, 71 million possible missense. So 89% done by the time this goes to press, which is now. They're probably all done. The humans are just catching up because the humans have to verify this before we're out, and so the humans are at just 0.1%. Okay, the dark side, the risk, and what do we have to worry about? You know, deep fakes we've heard of. What's the potential risk of AI? Should I let my kids access to AI? Should I not? Is it good for them? Is it bad for them? Where do we go? Always go back to YouTube, right? So everyone knows, you probably know, if you haven't, you can look this up, the Morgan Freeman deep fake. You know, this is all in pop culture. The Mandalorian one, where they had to bring Luke Skywalker back, that was an intentional deep fake. Now tell me, ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to navigate through this? One's intentional, one's totally, you know, aggravated, and we've got to make our way through this. There's one with Jerry Seinfeld out in Pulp Fiction, but these are a few of the popular ones out there, some intentional and some unintentional. And so here we are. You know, do we distrust something and risk the fear that it was actually authentic, or do we dismiss it, or do we accept a deep fake, and what do we do, right? And so we really have to be very careful in taking judgment, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about hallucinations, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about AI bias in a minute. This is the part that us IT guys refer to as FUD, not Elmer, but fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There is hope before I talk about this, but here's where AI is actually thriving. Here's where the bad guys are using AI, okay? phishing. Able to scan the internet, find out who you are, send you an email saying that your grandson's in trouble and that you need to send money, or hey, you won the, the Nigerian prince scam. But they're getting better and better. FedEx, right? I mean, hey, you've got a package, you got to come pick it up, click here, before you know it, your email's compromised. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is happening today to very normal, intelligent people, me included. There's a test that comes out at our organization every 3 months, and invariably someone has clicked on something because they're getting really good. A fun story, an ex-president of what was Loyola Marymount University is in charge. He is visiting Germany to look for a tie-up with Germany for the university before it was taken over by UCLA. He's got a stopover in New York, first time, takes a picture of World One or Tower One and puts it on his social media. Within seconds of that picture up on his social media, Jennifer, his CFO, gets an email saying, hey, Jen, I would like you to send $30,000 to this account because I'm not sure what my expenses are going to be in Germany, okay? Jen, promptly, wanting to impress her new boss, actually initiates the wire transfer, but has the sense to call the president, past president, who shall remain unnamed, and he quickly says, no, it's not right. And all this information was gathered by AI on social media because the collaboration was posted. It's easy to find the CFO of the university. It's listed on their website. That Jen to Jennifer was a nice touch, and here we are, right? So this is happening. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Passwords. No longer is 8 and 9 digits enough, and please, not your favorite grandchild, not the street you live on anymore. It's 20 digits. And even then, what's going to come soon, and I really don't mean to scare you, but please be careful, change your passwords, because AI-supported guessing is a real thing. Business email compromise is happening with people who are buying houses. They get this email saying, put your money in for escrow, and it's not the real escrow account. You know about this. If you bought a house recently, your escrow will call you like 14 times to ensure things are right. And deep fakes. So here is some real-world examples. Worm GPT, that's being used for phishing, like I told you in the example earlier. The poison GPT is actually mass campaigns of fake ideas and ideologies, okay? So you could buy this for a few $100s and say, I now want everyone to believe in purple rain, right? And plug it in, and for $100 a campaign is generated, and out it goes. The last one is the most dangerous that we face in cybersecurity. It's malicious content that adapts itself within company networks. So as you try to find it and shut it down, it gets smarter. This is happening today in our world. So as the good guys are coming up with better stuff, so are the bad guys keeping up with the technology. There is hope. So there are 3 components to this entire thing. There's the private sector that I am a part of. There's the public sector that's about 90% of the people in this room. And there's governance, right? So administrations, current and future, and you're going to hear from Congressman Ted Lieu, are doing great things in terms of creating guardrails. The White House has come up with a risk framework, an AI risk management framework that's going to set the theme for industry to make sure that we're protecting our people when it comes to AI and teams and data. And last August, in Vegas, DevCon 23 was a hackers convention. The White House actually sponsored hackers to break into known AI tools and come up and have them do things that AI was not supposed to do. Took about 45 minutes. But it's good. This is the conversation that we need to generate. So I talked about a fine line between real and generated content. I talked about mitigation strategies. So basically, it's a collaboration. Things like blockchain can now be used to verify. So we, the people, ladies and gentlemen, talk about things in 3, of the people and by the people and for the people. We're using blockchain now to come up to verify things that are supposed to be secure, including a certain picture posted by a princess in London. I mean, it had a kind of a sad outcome, but still, we as people can create authenticity when it comes to social media posting. Collaboration and policy, this is probably going to be the most important thing that's going to happen in industry. Private sector and public sector collaborating with the government, which you'll hear about more. And last but not least, in the minute that I have, Laura, is ethical consideration. You've heard about this. If I create a Billy Joel song with a certain rhythm, is it mine or is it Billy Joel's, right? Whose is it? If I had 100,000 people who loaded up to AI that the world is flat, I could probably influence AI into thinking about it. So there's hallucination. The Einstein that we have in our pocket is not perfect, right? He's subject to misunderstanding and hallucinations and mistakes. So there's a certain amount of responsibility that we still have as we use AI. However, friend or foe, I vote for we're dating right now. This could probably, as my wife is watching, a successful 33-year-long marriage and fun times ahead. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's me. Those are the key takeaways. If you have any questions, I'm guessing Councilman Henderson's going to come up. But thank you very much.
Give Philip a hand, first of all. So Philip, we're not going to do the Q&A sitting down.
That's fine.
But again, we want to thank you for this information as you scared us half to death with everything and all that. But
do what Councilman Hicks did. If there's anything going wrong with the blank papers, blame AI.
Blame AI, absolutely. But I do have one question in regards to the ethical use of it, and how do we as public sector agencies and just normal citizens work to make sure that we don't disenfranchise portions of our community that may not be aware of how this tool can be misused?
At the moment, transparency. Full transparency. So in here, somewhere is Carl Schmidt, a lawyer of great repute, I think, who's promised to come see me. There he is, right at the back. And he is working on privacy, which is a big one. We're also talking about, the intellectual rights, right? IP, intellectual property. And I would say as we navigate through these waters, full transparency is the answer. So as community leaders, as government leaders, when that debate happens, encourage public discussion and encourage participation to arrive at a conclusion, because there are certain areas that are totally grow. We're looking for the feds to provide some direction, and that is starting to happen. You'll hear from Congressman Liu in terms of direction, but for the moment, my answer is full transparency.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's give Philip another hand.
Thank you.
And I've been tasked to give you a gift, so let me give you a gift.
Thank you, everyone. This was fun. And now we can open the doors and let Mary out.
So here's your gift right here. Green bags, right? Green bag? All right, there
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thanks a lot.
I got to get it together. All right. All right, we're going to thank you again. Let's give Philip another hand for that.